Good day to my grade 12 students. Welcome back to our week 1 session 2. Of course, this is your creative writing class. Still, we are going to use our module 1 entitled Imagery, Diction, Figures of Speech, and Specific Experiences. For this session 2, we have to deal with 3 tasks. The first one, you just need to skip pages to read the 10 guide questions before reading the story Harvest on page 17. Number 2, you have now to read What's New, pages 12 to 17. And then the last would be, in one whole sheet of paper, you have to answer the 10 questions on page 17. So what are we waiting for? Let's start to read and answer those questions. Once again, welcome to Creative Writing Class, Quarter 1, Module 1, Imagery, Diction, Figures of Speech, and Specific Experiences. Credits to our writer, my friend, Ma'am Pearly Villagracia. Since you're holding now, or I'm assuming that you're holding your Module 1 now, you just need to skip pages to read the 10 guide questions before reading the story Harvest on page 17. So here are the 10 questions. Based on the story Harvest, answer the following questions below. Number 1, what are the words that created images or visual representation in your mind? 2, what are the specific words in the story that produce sound in your mind? 3, what are the specific words in the story that evoke feelings or emotion in your mind? 4, describe one character in the story. 5, what is the good trait of Pabian? 6, give one good character of Vidal. 7, what is the theme of the story? 8, what particular objects or animals were used in the piece to symbolize the main character? Justify your answer. 9, if you will use the same theme, what image or object will you choose as a descriptive detail? Explain briefly. And the last question, 10. Create your own ending. Make a happy ending in spite of the envy of Pabian to his brother. Use your creativity in writing. So we have to deal with these 10 questions after reading the story Harvest. I hope you still remember those questions so that you can able to answer after reading the story. So what are we waiting for? Let's deal with this story and some of a little background first before we proceed to it. Let's go to the next. Now read the What's New pages 12 to 17. As a student, you have future plans for yourself and for your family. Your loved ones can guide you, but at the end of the day, you are responsible on your decision. Understand the story Harvest written by Loreto Parras Sulit and learn from the lessons you will get from it. Loreto Parras Sulit was born in Manila on December 10, 1908. She attended the public schools and took her Bachelor of Science in Education, magna cum laude, from the University of the Philippines. She worked as research writer for the Curriculum Division of the Bureau of Public Schools. She was one of the founders of the Writer Club of the University of the Philippines. Harvest by Loreto Parras Sulit. He first saw her in his brother's eyes. The palace dogs were taking on gold in the late afternoon sun, were losing their trampled, wind-swept look and stirring into little, almost audible whispers. The rhythm of Pabian's strokes was smooth and unbroken. So many palay stalks had to be harvested before sundown, and there was no time to be lost in the idle dallying. But when he stopped to heap up the fallen palay stalks, he glanced at his brother as if to fathom the other's state of mind in that one sidelong glance. The swing of Vidal's figure was as graceful as the downward curve of the crescent-shaped saint. How stubborn, his younger brother of his, how hard-headed, fumed Pabian as he felled stalk after stalk. It is because he knows how very good-looking he is, how he is so much run after by all the women in town. The obstinate young fool, with his queer dreams, his strange adorations, his wistfulness for a life not of these fields, not of their quiet, colorless women and the dullness of long nights of unbroken silence and sleep. But he would bend, he must bend, one of these days. Vidal stopped in his work to wipe off the heavy sweat from his brow. He wondered how his brother could work that fast all day without pausing to rest, without slowing in the rapidity of his strokes. But that was the reason the master would not let him go. He could harvest a field in a morning that would require 3 men to finish in a day. He had always been afraid of his older brother of his. There was something terrible in the way he determined things, how he always brought them to pass, how he disregarded the soft and the beautiful in his life, and sometimes how he crushed, trampled people, things he wanted to destroy. There were flowers, insects, birds of boyhood memories, what Pabian had done to them. There was Tinay. She did not truly like him, but her widowed mother had some lands. He won and married Tinay. I wonder what can touch him. Without thoughts of miracles, perhaps a vision, a woman, but no, he would overpower them. He was so strong, with those arms of steel, those huge arms of his that could throttle a spirited horse into obedience. Harvest time is almost ended, Vidal. I must be strong also, the other prayed. Soon the planting season will be on us, and we shall have need of many carabaos. Milia's father has 5. You have but to ask her, and Milia will accept you any time. Why do you delay? It is my model. How are you, Vidal? It was a voice too deep and truly for a woman, but beneath it one could detect a gentle, smooth wine sense, soft as silk. It affected Fabian very queerly. He could feel his muscles testing as he waited for her to speak again. But he did not stop in work or turn to look at her. From now on, he must work for me every morning, possibly all day. Very well, everything as you please. So it was the master who was with her. He is your brother, you say, Vidal? Oh, your elder brother. The curiosity in her voice must be in her eyes. He has very splendid arms. Then Pavian turned to look at her. A large moth with mottled, highly colored wings fluttered blindly against the bow, its long, feathery antennae quivering sensitively in the air. Vidal paused to pick it up, but before he could do so, his brother had hit it with a bundle of palay stalks he carried. The moth fell to the ground, a mass of broken wings of the fluttering wings dust. After they had walked a distance, Vidal asked, "Why are you that way?" "What is my way?" That was that way of destroying things which are beautiful, like moths, like If the dust from the wings of the moth should get into your eyes, you would be blind. That is not the reason. Things that are beautiful have a way of hurting. I destroy it when I feel a hurt. When I was your age, Vidal, I was already married. It is high time you should be settling down. There is Milia. I have no desire to marry her or anybody else. Just for 5 carabaos. There, he had spoken out at last. What a relief it was. But he did not like the way his brother pursed his lips tightly that boded not defeat. Vidal rose, stretching himself luxuriously. On the door of the salid, where he slept, he paused to watch his little niece. As he threw a pebble into the air, he caught it and could not give it up. She pinched a bit and shook his parts furiously while he laughed in great amusement. His brother saw and understood. Fury was a high flame in his heart. If that look, that fever of voice had been a moth, a curl on the dark head of his daughter. Now, more than ever, he was determined to have Milia in his home as his brother's wife. That would come to pass. Some day, that look, that fever would become a moth in his hands, a frail, helpless moth. When Vidal one night broke out the news, Papian knew he had to act at once. Miss Francia would leave within 2 days. She wanted Vidal to go to the city with her, where she would finish the figures she was working on. She will pay me more than I can earn here and help me get a position there. She shall always be near her. Oh, I'm going. And live the life of a servant? What of that? I shall be near her always. Why do you wish to be near her? Why? Why? Oh my God, why? Again, as it ever would be, the disquieting nature of her loveliness was on him, so that all his body tensed and flexed as he gathered in at a glance all the marvel of her beauty. She smiled graciously at him while he made known himself. He did not expect he would remember him. Ah, the man with the splendid arms. I am the brother of Vidal. He had not forgotten to roll up his sleeves. He did not know how he worded his thoughts, but he succeeded in making her understand that Vidal could not possibly go with her, that he had to stay behind in the fields. There was an amusement rippling beneath their tones. To marry the girl whose father has 5 carabaos, you see? Vidal told me about it. He flushed again a painful brick red. Even to his eyes he felt the hot blood flow. That is the only reason to cover up something that would not be known. My brother has wronged this girl. There will be a child. She said nothing, but the look in her face protested against that she had heard. It said it was not so. But she merely answered, I understand. He shall not go with me. She called the servant, gave him a 20 peso bill and some instruction. Vidal, is he at your house? The brother on the pecho nodded. Now they were alone again. After this afternoon he would never see her. She would never know, but that had she to know. A pang without a voice, a dream without a plan. How could they be understood in words? Your brother should never know you have told me the real reason why he should not go with me. It should hurt him, I know. I have to finish this statue before I leave. The arms are still incomplete. Would it be too much to ask you to pose for a little while? Well, she smoothed the clay, patted it, and molded the vein. Muscle, arms told firmness, the strength of his arms to give to his lifeless statue. It seems as it left his arms that were being copied. She was lost in her work and noticed neither the twilight stealing into the patio nor the silence brooding over them. When Fabian returned, Vidal was at the Batalan, brooding over the crumpled 20-peso bill in his hands. The haggard, tired look in his young eyes was as gray as the skies above. He was speaking to Tinay jokingly. Soon all your sampaguitas and kamyas will be gone, my dear sister-in-law, because I shall be seeing Milia every night. And her father. He watched Fabian cleansing his face and arms, and the latter wondered why it took his brother that long to wash his arms, why she was rubbing them as hard as that. So that's the hardest. This time, you have to have a one whole sheet of paper, answer the 10 questions based to the story Harvest, the one that I've read a while ago, 1 to 10 questions. So you have to answer number 1, what are the words that created images or visual representations in your mind? Number 2, what are the specific words in the story that produce sound in your mind? Number 3, what are the specific sound in the story that evoke feelings or emotion in your mind? 4, describe one character in the story. 5, what is a good trait of Fabian? 6, give one good character of Vidal. 7, what is the theme of the story? 8, what particular objects or animals were used in the piece to symbolize the main character? Justify your answer. 9, if you will use the same theme, what image or object will you choose as a descriptive detail? Explain briefly. Number 10, create your own ending. Make a happy ending in spite of the envy of Fabian to his brother. Use your creativity in writing. I hope you've done with the 10 questions for our session 2. And of course, see you again in our week 1 session 3. Thank you for watching, and of course, don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates to our lessons. And of course, it's me, Teacher Donna. Have a nice day.